Welcome to Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake. Today I'm going to be talking about FOFAR, a technical analysis overview. If you don't own FOFAR, I encourage you to check it out. Their website is fofar.io, and it's a beautiful site with lots of information that you can check out for yourself. So go ahead, including a roadmap. If you do own FOFAR, I think you'll find this video very reassuring. So, by the way, FOFAR, congratulations. They just released a comprehensive white paper that details their Meme Arcade NFT designer tool and Bacon token that's coming up. So lots of great stuff here. There's going to be Twitter Spaces on it, I believe, on Monday. So check their Twitter for more information. And yours truly compiled a list of 13 songs, and I actually released my own FOFAR music album. So I do have my own music channel that I've been kind of neglecting lately because I'm so busy with crypto. It's called Snake Bites Music. And yeah, my first album, I have tons and tons of songs that I need to turn into an album, but my first album is FOFAR Volume 1. Check these songs out, especially if you're feeling down. There's also a cool video that Space, one of their admins, put together. It's a compilation of older videos, animations that I encourage you to check this out. It's on their Twitter. I'll post links to all this stuff in the description. But let's go to the chart. That's what we're here for, right? Is a technical analysis. That's what I do. So you can see that FOFAR has been maintaining this really long-term trend line since it debuted in April 3rd. Ignore this very first sharp wick. That is MEV bot. Front-running bots are in pretty much they attract themselves to all kinds of projects. Jared Subway is one very famous one. Had a double bottom coming off of that and a really nice parabolic rise. This actually caught the attention of TechDev, one of the most famous people on crypto Twitter, for how bullish it looked. Unfortunately, due to broader market conditions, this bullishness was not able to be sustained, and we had a little bit of a double top of sorts. And then we just kind of started to staircase our way down to where we are today, which is fighting to hold this trend line. And in the past couple of days, this trend line broke to the downside. And I did expect that. I did anticipate that that would happen. I think that it very likely will continue into this next week to break down further potentially. These are Heikin-Ashi candles. And so Heikin-Ashi candles are basically giving you an idea of the trend. And you can see that we have a pretty well-defined Heikin-Ashi candles indicating downside. Now, what I do notice is that these are not as dramatic as these Heikin-Ashis. So I feel like FOFAR's like really major capitulation event is probably over. I don't think we're going to see anything quite like this. But, I think we could maybe kind of spend some time in this lower region above 0.003. And you might say, wait, wasn't that just on the trend line not that long ago? Yeah, but this trend line moves up as a function of time. So that's not really something to be overly concerned about. And I am going to show you why to not be concerned, even though we have this really big bear flag, which is not what we want to see, folks. I don't want to see a bear flag, and we're breaking out of the bear flag exactly the way that we expected to. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think. Part of the reason for that is our holders. We have 3,300 holders approximately, and multiple analysts who help FOFAR out with analyzing the tokenomics and all that stuff and the chart behavior. One of our experts, Heresy Brad, he actually looked at the sort of like the token distribution and token holder metrics, and he showed that like 90 to 95% of the long-term holders are still here, and they haven't sold a dime. So the sells have been few and far between in terms of like quantity. There's just been some big sells from FOFAR whales, especially in this area here. But I mean, look at the altcoin market in general. This is pretty much, this is actually a fairly good looking chart compared to some of the other ones I've seen out there. So if we look at the Gaussian channel for FOFAR, and I think this is actually a useful tool to look at, you can see that FOFAR penetrated the Gaussian channel with authority, which is not really what you like to see, but this generally indicates a bull trend is over and a bear trend is starting. Gaussian channel flipped red and concave down where it still is today. So, this is a bear market for FOFAR now until proven otherwise. And at some point, we'll enter into an accumulation range. We could already be in that phase now. There's no way to know where you are while it's happening. What I will say is, if we pull up the Gauss ribbon, you'll notice that we had a red ribbon, a little bit of green, and now we've got a big red ribbon that's starting to close in. This closing in of the red ribbon is actually a really good thing, because what is likely to happen is when this closes, there's a high probability we'll see a green ribbon start to form. And that's why I'm saying I don't think that we're going to necessarily spend a whole lot of time below this trend line initially. It's possible we'll come back down underneath it, but of course, if we do, it'll be at higher prices. Keep that in mind. This is an increasing function of time. So the Gauss ribbon is actually kind of nice. I like to see how it's closing in here. You see what happened last time it closed. We started to get some bullish momentum. So I don't think the bear flag will necessarily be invalidated, but I also don't think the bear flag has to play out in a catastrophic way. Just because we have one doesn't mean that we should expect the worst. I don't really see any reason for that. In fact, if you look at the 50 and 100 week HMAs, they're on the verge of having a golden cross. And dumping into a golden cross is really not that unusual. The 20, I don't know why this is thick red. But yeah, let me fix that real quick. Okay, I like to use yellow for my 20. It's a 20-day whole moving average, and you can see that things got real bearish here, and then popped up above it, So it does kind of look a little accumulation rangey, right? Kind of just diminishing volatility here. And we'll take a look at that deeper into the metrics, but I don't know. To me, nothing looks that bad. Chart's already been decimated quite a bit, right, with all the large sells from whales, and people are holding tight. This is the Gauss ribbon. I'm sorry, not the Gauss ribbon. This is the Gunnar EMA, and we did print a bearish cross on this on the daily on August 1st. But notice that so think of this like a bull market support band. When you're above it, it's generally when you're in a bull market, and when it flips to resistance, that's a bear market. So we're in a bear market on the daily time frame. We try to peek our head out, but it was just a fake out, and we're kind of riding our way down. But what is nice is that the distance between the red and the green is shrinking. Whenever that happens, there's a high probability of a bullish cross emerging, in a relatively soon. It could be in a few weeks, for all we know. So, I think a lot of the downside volatility has been accomplished at this point. I'm not saying that there won't be any more. In fact, if you look here at the SAR, we actually have had a bullish SAR until today. We're actually challenging the SAR today. And so I think it is likely we're probably going to go underneath it and spend a little bit of time there. But I don't think we have to go super far down. I think 0.003, that's been right around here. If I can pull it up. I think even if Bitcoin drops and people sell off some of their FOFAR, or Ethereum drops, I think that this 0.003 area could provide some support. It has done pretty well at providing support on our drops, and you can see that. This is kind of the line in the sand where a lot of things have been bought up, right? So I like to look at that line as a potential place for where this downtrend could potentially stop. That would correspond to a nice double bottom, especially right here. If that happens, okay, no guarantee that it does, but if it does happen, that would be kind of a nice place for us to bounce. So that's just something I'm throwing out there. I think there's a high probability of that happening in the near future, the very near future. What else could we look at on here? So probably nothing much here. Let's go to some indicators. We can look at some ones that I don't usually look at, like the ADX and DI. I've got some other ones up here as well. I want to actually zero in on this indicator. And you're going to be getting a free education on how these indicators work. So this is called the average directional index and directional index. ADX is the white curve, and that's a measurement of how strong your trend strength is. DI is the directional index, and the green one is bull to bull DI. The red one's the bear one. So when green's above red and diverging away from it, that's bullish. When red is above green and diverging away from it, that's bearish. And you can see that we just kind of collapsed over time, but so did the trend strength. We actually got to a trend strength on July 16th of 6. Then the trend picked back up, and it was bullish for a little while, but then the bearishness took over, and now we saw a little crossover. This looks like an accumulation phase. Now, this is not to say that the red couldn't go higher, but this is actually a good thing to see something like this, a multi-month consolidation. So We could be in an accumulation range. I don't know if we are, but we could be. That's what this is telling me. I'll go to some indicators I already have pulled up. This is the Snabble RSI. Generally, when you get up into these higher regions, that price is not going to be sustainable for long. You see a change of trend. When you get down to these lower levels, that is usually not sustainable for long either, and you see some kind of bounce. That's exactly what's happened. And you can see, yep, we hit that level on August 6th, very, very low, lowest Snabble RSI recorded. And then we put in this head and shoulders recently, so I am expecting some more downside. Now the question is, are we actually printing some kind of macro bullish divergence? That remains to be seen. So can we print a higher low on the Snabble RSI? Seeing this head and shoulders makes me think we could potentially, but I think we're going to probably test this green line one last time before we see maybe a more meaningful change in trend. And looking at the MACD, that seems to confirm my guesses. You can see that we are printing the light greens, and you're starting to see the signal line and the 26 minus 12 day EMA band start to roll over. So we could see another leg down, but maybe we get a higher low this time. You can see the bleeding has been less intense each time, and that's exactly what a consolidation phase starts to look like. You get a little bit of red, a little bit of green, and it starts to you get this volatility contraction, and then you get your big moves. Okay, and the probability is a big move to the upside at that point, and certainly not the downside. Okay, let me pull up some other indicators. The average sentiment oscillator is very similar to the ADX and DI. So the green being above red and going above the red is bullish. The red being above green is bearish. Generally speaking, you don't get higher than like a strength of 80. We can see that I think the bear trend has pretty much peaked. It got to a strength of like 74 on August 8th. We had a strength of 71 over here and really come down quite a bit. So again, this is suggesting consolidation. The longer that we're red, the more probability we're going to see eventually some green return, but I think we might get another leg up of red before that happens. Okay, so yes, I do think some downside is coming. That's just what I think. Even though I hold a fair amount of this asset, I'm not going to BS people. Like if whatever I see, I'm going to report it. What other things could we look at here? I think with an asset this new, it's sometimes a little hard to read. We could look at the weighted logarithmic Bollinger Bands. I actually think that would be a good one to look at. I haven't looked at these in a while. I like what I'm seeing here, but I'm not sure I like the direction we're heading in, right? So when the Bollinger Bands can be thought of as sort of like a volatility measurement away from a mean price. Our mean price has been going down because we are in a technical downtrend. I do like that we're kind of flipping around here a little bit. That's encouraging, but when the Bollinger Bands squeeze tight like this, it usually means a bigger move is coming, and I think these are very likely to open to the downside. Okay, it doesn't mean that price has to spill out to like 0.00002 or anything like that. It certainly could. I wouldn't panic if it did, but I'm thinking the 0.00003 is a more likely place for some buy volume to pick up because that's historically where it's picked up in the past. So again, nothing to be concerned about in my opinion, especially if you have a long-term vision with this project, which I certainly do. I've held since April, and other than taking a little bit of profit here and there early on, I really haven't sold anything since then, and I'm not going to. What else? Let's look at the wave trend. I want to look at the Trix bubble too, but let's look at the wave trend oscillator. So the wave trend oscillator can be thought of as sort of like an RSI of the ROI, like the return on investment. And this has generally been in a downtrend as well. I've noticed that we haven't printed anything in the green. And usually when you see a trend reverse, before you see a trend reversal, you're going to have to come down here and at least print one green dot, kind of like usually you print a red dot. This is like oversold and, overbought and oversold. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this kind of come down and make its way maybe in the first couple of weeks of September into the green, print a green dot, and then we can start to work our way back up again. So that's kind of like what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a lot of confluence on the different indicators that a short-term leg down is probable, but there's really not a lot of bleeding left for this asset. So I think a change in trend is coming. Trix bubble. I love this indicator. And I really like what I'm seeing here. We saw so these are like very short-term moving averages. Be like green would be 5-day, and then working your way all the way up to black would be 5, 7, 9, 11, and 14-day HMA or EMAs. So, we're seeing a pattern here of higher lows, and maybe we're about to print another higher low with a little bit of a move down. I like that, right? Maybe we can get back above the zero line and start to work our way up to some higher levels. So this looks very consolidation-y, like looks like this is the time-based capitulation. Price-based capitulation over here where you really saw some major moves in price, like in this region here on the price, and now we're entering into like a time-based capitulation where price is just kind of boring. Maybe it goes down a little bit more, maybe sometimes up, but it doesn't do anything that crazy, right, in either direction. So that's what the Trix bubble is telling me. Let's see if there's any other indicators that I want to use before I move to my next. Topic, which is going to be Pepe. I want to compare this chart to Pepe. So, I'm just looking right here, and we can look at RSI and stochastic. I mean, we already looked at RSI, like Snabble RSI, so this is going to be a little bit redundant. But you can see that Snabble RSI, RSI is heading down, head and shoulders pattern. Not a very dramatic one, but it's still there. The stochastic RSI, which is the RSI of the RSI. RSI is the rate of change of price. Stochastic RSI is the rate of change of RSI, or second derivative of RSI. It is heading down, and it looks like it's about to touch the 20 line. I think it will make it all the way down here again. I do. I think it's highly likely to happen. It just looks like the first week or two of September could be kind of ugly for FOFAR, and then I think things will probably turn around. I think we're likely to see some kind of bullish divergence start to develop after that. So like mid-September at the earliest probably, but I think it's coming. One other thing I think that we could look at with FOFAR, actually there's two things. Something called the Mansfield RSI, and we can compare this to we'll have to go on a 4-hour time frame just because there's not enough data for anything less. And we can see there have been some times, okay, when you're trying to pick altcoins, look, there's not very many altcoins that are showing strength against Bitcoin right now. Okay, you're just not going to find them. But what you want to see is that your altcoin has a history of showing strength against Bitcoin, and FOFAR does. FOFAR alternates between showing strength against Bitcoin and not showing strength against it. Right now, we're not showing strength against it, but we are putting in higher lows. Look at that. I'm paying attention to this. I am happy to hold a good amount of FOFAR because I'm confident that it's going to. Sorry, I don't know how long my camera's been off. This just keeps happening on here and I can't fix it. But I don't know how long FOFAR is going to spend chopping around here before it turns around, but I'm very confident that it will turn around and start to show strength against Bitcoin again in the future. Not exactly sure when. It depends on a lot of things. The other thing is like, well, how good of a buy is FOFAR right now? So if we look at the beam risk indicator, we can see that we actually got slightly overbought back in May, and there was a lot of profit taking. But right now, the beam is an extreme undervaluation, meaning any DCAs that you make down in this region, starting from August 5th to now, are very likely to be in extreme profit later on in the cycle. Okay, you're gonna have to wait. It doesn't happen overnight, but this is like the safest place to be buying FOFAR, and I think we could see it, come down just slightly lower again. I'm not expecting any like truly precipitous drops, but yeah. So FOFAR is an extreme undervaluation. I mean, no matter how you look at it, it looks like a good buy. Let's go to those of you who are like, well, is FOFAR ever going to do well again? Let me show you something. All right, this is Pepe. This is Pepe's entire history. And so I drew a trend line for Pepe to kind of show you that Pepe went through something fairly similar to what FOFAR is going through now. I'm actually going to turn off these whole moving averages. Okay, we don't need to see all those. Just sometimes simple is best. Let me throw on a Gaussian channel though, because I think that actually could be a nice thing to look at. Look at how similar this looked to what you saw with FOFAR. It's so similar. You had a spike to an all-time high back in May of 2023. Pepe was created in April of 2023. You had this dead cat bounce, and then you had this battle, and these are Heikin Ashis. You had this battle at the support line, and it broke. to the downside. And I think FOFAR is going to do something similar, but not as dramatic. I don't see FOFAR coming down as low below the support line as Pepe did. Pepe really didn't have that major bleed until here. FOFAR already had it. So in a way, FOFAR's chart actually looks better than Pepe did a year ago. So I don't think FOFAR is going to go through as much of a struggle as Pepe did. And I think we could actually adjust this line a little bit more to include maybe this spike here. So if we do that, I'm trying to, you want to go through as many touch points as possible, something like this. Okay. Pepe printed a double bottom around the same time that I think FOFAR is going to bottom this year. It's crazy, right? You can't make this shit up. So, and then what happened? Pepe got a nice rally in October, Pumptober, along with all the other altcoins. I think FOFAR is going to get something kind of like this. It won't look exactly the same. And I started to test this trend line and say, you know what? I want to reclaim this as support. I don't want this to be resistance anymore. So it knocked once, it knocked twice, it knocked 3 times, couldn't make it, went down for another trip down, put in a higher low, and then off we go. Look at that pump. That was such an impressive pump. And I think something like this is going to happen for FOFAR. And we put in just a gigantic 11x move, and that turned into an 18x move from the bottom. Wow, that's huge. Okay, and this wasn't even in a bull market. This was just in a market recovery, and then Pepe's just kind of been put in a head and shoulders pattern, and I think Pepe's going to go lower. I think what's going to happen with Pepe is it's going to test this trend line very soon, and I think when it does that, FOFAR will drop along with it, but I don't think FOFAR's drop will be quite as volatile as Pepe's might be. So I think Pepe could maybe come under here, but I ultimately think this is going to hold this. This is a high chance of holding a support. And if it doesn't, okay, fine, it's resistance for a little while. But either way, I think Pepe is going to, it's going to go on to do great things. I think Pepe can do a lot from here. So these long-term lines, they can flip from support to resistance multiple times, but notice that this is happening at a much higher price. So FOFAR has a line like this as well, but it's not as dramatic. The slope of FOFAR's line is lower. That's a good thing because that means the volatility to the downside is also been lower. So yeah, that's something just to keep in mind with Pepe. And if you want to look at maybe a couple of its indicators, just to kind of see like what it went through during its early days, we can pull up the beam. Okay, and you can see Pepe had did something very similar to what FOFAR is doing right now. Let me turn these off. I don't think we need to look at the Snapple RSI and get that granular. Remember how I said FOFAR got like really overvalued? Pepe kind of got overvalued, and then it spent this time in this like undervaluation phase, and we're kind of in that right now. And actually, we're quite low, like Pepe. And then it just kind of was boring for a while, and then it went through another drop later on. And I think something like this is very likely to play out for FOFAR. And then boom, like off to the races it went. And I think this is what you're going to see with FOFAR. I can easily see FOFAR making it to $100 million market cap by early 2025, easily. Will it make it to $1 billion by Q1? That I don't know. But I think $100 million is totally doable. Yeah, I don't see why not. Like, if Pepe could do it, why can't FOFAR do it? So FOFAR is like, I think FOFAR is a little further along than here, but that's kind of like where we're at right now in terms of like, I think we have to drop a little bit more. I don't know if we have to necessarily drop this far with FOFAR, but maybe. We'll see. FOFAR's chart is built different. So again, with FOFAR, I think the volatility to the downside will be just a little bit less. But yeah, there you have it with Pepe. Pepe is a very similar chart to FOFAR, and I feel like you'll see the evolution of FOFAR. And FOFAR is a boys club Memecoin character, just like Pepe. So Pepe was the main character of the boys club. So they all kind of move in their own little ways, but more or less they're in they're all very bullish projects, or the official boys club projects. You got Andy, Brett, Landwolf, FOFAR, Bird Dog, and Pepe, right? So yeah, I mean, as far as Pepe goes, it just provides a blueprint for, I think, where FOFAR is heading. And actually, FOFAR's upward movement may be even more volatile and explosive simply because we're in a more explosive part of the cycle now, heading into Q4, where I expect to see some extreme bullishness enter into the market, and altcoins are going to get a nice bump. And if you look at Pepe's record against Bitcoin, if we pull up the Mansfield RSI, look at that. I mean, Pepe was underperforming Bitcoin for quite a while. Like, this is on a daily. Let's go to the 4 hour. This might be too much data because we can't get a daily time frame on FOFAR because it's just not an old enough asset yet. It doesn't have enough history. But I'll bet you it looks pretty similar. If we were to go back in time, got to go back quite a ways here. I don't even know if it'll let me. I'm trying, guys. So yeah, look at this. I mean, it was like alternating. In fact, you could say FOFAR has been stronger against Bitcoin in its early days. It certainly has. And you would be right about that. So Pepe is one that I feel provides a nice blueprint, really, for what FOFAR is likely to do. Okay, another asset I want to look at to kind of give you an idea of what to expect when you're not in an altcoin season. Let me see if I can. Oh, this is not. No, I don't want to pull up the indicator. Let's pull up Shiba Inu. So I think what I want is this one, SHIB Tether. And what I want to show you is this was a coin like that honestly did a lot worse than what FOFAR is experiencing before it had an explosive move. And this should be a lesson to not fade altcoins, okay? Don't fade altcoins that you think aren't performing well, because honestly it may just not be their time. Okay, so what I want to do is zoom in to what must have been a horrible period to go through with Shiba Inu. Like, just a horrible, horrible feeling. Like, look at this. You get this opening wick. And this, I don't think this chart is the full history of Shiba Inu, but it's okay. And just look at this, like, almost left for dead. These are Heiken Ashis. And then boom, out of nowhere, this giant bull run that lasted from August all the way. It lasted for like 4 months, and then it just kind of died, heading into 2021. So make sure you take profits. This cycle it popped again in February, and yeah, it's not really doing that well. But my point is, who would have thought it would pop like this, right? And it did. And you can see this pattern with a lot of altcoins. Some of the OGs like Doge. Doge has a ton of history. Let's go back to Doge's early days. They even put okay, I don't know. This is not a lot of history. I want more history. Let's see if we can get more history with Dogecoin. Doge US. I just did Binance. I honestly don't know enough about where to even look. I would think Binance. We could look at KuCoin. No. Okay. Well, we could just go back to Binance. I don't know if I should look at Doge USD maybe instead of USDT. But the Coinbase has even less history. Okay. Well, we'll just go with Binance. Sorry that I keep doing that. Doge USDT. Okay. Well, let's go with Binance, even though there's way more history to Doge than this. I don't even know. Well, the point is, like, you could see that there's these periods where it was really boring, and then boom, it just popped off. So you have to be prepared for that to happen with an asset like FOFAR, and I think it's not a likely outcome. Now, what do we have to watch out for besides Bitcoin? Well, FOFAR is denominated in Ethereum. Actually, I want to pull up the ETHUSD crypto. Yeah, this one here, crypto market cap, or index. Index would work either way. So, ETH goes through these boom and bust periods like anything else, and you can see what ETH is doing right now. ETH failed to make a higher high. Bitcoin did, but ETH didn't. Okay, and ETH has been struggling since. And so ETH is in a downtrend. Gaussian channel is green and concave up, which is good. And I think I'm thinking Bitcoin's probably going to be dropping very soon, like maybe this coming week, or into next week before rate cuts. I think then it will pump into rate cuts or around rate cuts. So I think ETH is likely to make a downside move. Maybe, let's see. I'll just move this over. I don't know if it'll be that dramatic. But yeah, I do think ETH is likely to do something, maybe put in kind of like a macro high or low, like when accounting for these. I don't know. I think it's going to drop to maybe around 1800 or so, or the bottom of this range, and pump up again and get much more bullish. But I do think ETH is going to fall. The chart looks bearish. I can't tell you exactly how far it'll fall. But when ETH falls, so does FOFAR. Okay, this is something to keep in mind, something a lot of people don't understand, that Ethereum's price action is directly related to FOFAR. Like whatever ETH does, FOFAR is going to follow because FOFAR is denominated in Ethereum. It just is. So if you go back to FOFAR's chart, and let's say you were to look at a correlation between FOFAR's price and Ethereum's price, it's not going to be a perfect match by any means. Okay, but I think we'll use the index. I think you'll see a lot more positive correlation than negative correlation. Now this is on a daily time frame. Usually with correlation studies, that's a 4-hour. Weekly, there's just not enough data. Although it's telling you it's pretty positively correlated. That's daily time frame. Yeah, I mean you can see FOFAR spends more of its time being positively correlated with Ethereum than not. Positively correlated, and heading into positive correlation. So if Ethereum's price is dropping, then FOFAR's price is automatically going to drop. People don't even have to sell. It will just drop because its value, Ethereum's losing value against the US dollar, and so FOFAR is going to, by association, be losing value against the US dollar because it's losing value against Ethereum. Okay. So what can you do? I mean, you're out altcoin shopping and you want to learn more about FOFAR because, FOFAR has all these cool features to it, right? It's more than a meme coin. If we go back to the white paper, there's some really cool stuff here. And I know we've done a lot. We covered a lot of ground in this video, but, like FOFAR has NFTs that are customizable. The users can actually customize them, and the rarity of each trait it adjusts based on community demand. So unlike like Bored Ape Yacht Club and other like older NFT projects, the rarity of the NFTs will depend on the users and what they feel is the most important and rare traits. And there's utility that's going to be with these NFTs. There's going to be staking, trading, community voting. Like there's a lot going on here, and there's this bacon token that I would encourage you to read about. In-game rewards. So FOFAR is going to have all kinds of games, and this is going to turn into a full-on decentralized gaming protocol. That is the ultimate goal, and this is going to expand beyond FOFAR to other chains. There'll be cross-chain integration and stuff like that. And let me tell you, when FOFAR builds, we build. We don't BS, we build. Okay, so if we say we're going to do something, it happens. Okay, sometimes there might be little delays, but this is a legit project. You could look it up for yourself. Go study the tokenomics yourself. Okay. If you don't believe me, if you're skeptical, study these yourself. Look at the bubble maps on Ethereum. You'll see how clean they are. Join our Telegram. We have about 6,300 members there. We'd love to have you. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of FOFAR, and I look forward to its evolution in the coming days and weeks, months. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you for joining me in the crypto simulation. I am the Gaussian Snake. I do hold FOFAR for full disclosure, and I am on their team. And nothing in this video should be taken or misconstrued as financial advice. You should always do your own research and make your investment choices yourself. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. Hit that, give me a follow, hit the notification button. What do you think of FOFAR? What do you think of my analysis? Let me know in the comments below. Does the project interest you? Do you have any questions? And be sure to also consider joining my Telegram group, the Snake Pit. I have a link to that also in the video description. And come say hi to FOFAR. Yeah, like you could say hi to him. Come say hi to the FOFAR team and to the FOFAR community. There'll be a link in the video description as well. So I appreciate you joining me tonight, and I will hopefully see you around in one or both of the Telegram groups I am a part of. Till then, take care and best wishes in this rocky market. But with FOFAR, you're going to make it.